Hi, everybody. Welcome to a Chats with Chaudhry. And yes, I'm sitting at my desk for a change rather than being at some show in some country I can't remember. I'm delighted to be joined by Ellie Whitehead, who is the project manager at Terrapinn. And today we are previewing the upcoming Future Labs Live in Basel, which runs from the 26th and 27th. And they have got an extra day on the 25th. And I'll let Ellie explain what that day is all about in a minute. But first of all, Ellie, it's lovely to see you. I haven't actually seen you in person since I think Future Labs last year, or it may have been one of the other Terrapinn events, I can't remember. But how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. We do seem to keep bumping into each other at events, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. Now, first of all, for people who are not familiar with Future Labs Live, can you give us a quick background on the event in terms of its history and also the target audience it's aiming for?
Yes, so Future Labs Live is relatively new, I'd say. We're about to go into our fifth year. Three of those years have been in person. We did originally have two virtual events when it was during COVID. But the idea behind the event is to be a meeting place for decision makers to discuss ideas, challenges, and case studies around creating this lab of the future. So it's set up as a conference and exhibition in one. We have a variety of different topics, looking at automation, AI, data, digitalization, connectivity, sustainability. I could go on. And in terms of our target audience, as I mentioned, decision makers and innovators from across the lab ecosystem. So biotechs and pharma, academia, agricultural companies, FMCGs, material companies, chemical companies, medical. Need I go on?
Anyone who uses a lab, basically.
Correct.
Right. So one question I'm going to ask you then is, um, obviously, I've been to Future Labs quite a lot. I've been to some of your competitors as well. And obviously, post-COVID, pre-COVID, Lab of the Future did lots of talk, but maybe people didn't really get involved in it. And then during COVID and the pandemic, obviously, people realized the importance of how you should have stuff on the cloud and you should have remote access and you should have things connected and so on. But how have you seen the market change and the topics change post-COVID?
I mean, I think there's a lot of innovation going on, and being able to bring people back into the labs as well has been really important. I mean, I think for Future Labs Live, for example, one topic that we have sort of built on from the previous year, we found in feedback it was something that we should cover in a bit more depth, was around change management. So
Right.
all about the people and, how are we integrating our software and, hardware and the reaction of people, and how can we ensure that they're sort of on board with this change, that they're trained with this technology. So we've actually, one of our tracks, we've expanded it to include change management, and we've got a variety of experts from Roche, Covestro, going to be starting with a few sort of presentations around change management, and then we'll move into a panel discussion, which should be a really interesting way to sort of cover the topic this year.
Right. And you mentioned change management. So in terms of the tracks that you've got, obviously you've gone through quite a few in your little intro there. But are there any new tracks then that people can expect to see this year that weren't there last year?
Well, the main one is the one I just mentioned. So it used to be called training, development, and talent, but we've expanded it to add in the change management side. And it's really people focused. I think people sometimes think of Lab of the Future being very technology focused, but the people are, well, the heart of the lab, I guess.
That's very true. Now, how much, you mentioned sustainability, for example, machine learning and AI and so on. So how much of the event is now focused on those areas as well? Because obviously sustainability, for example, is now such a key area for many, many companies to include in their CRSs. And actually, some vendors can't get selected by pharma unless they can show that they're committed to that area. So how big a portion of the event has got those topics?
Yeah, so in terms of sustainability, we have a track which is all about sustainability, looking at the sort of products, processes, initiatives in general. We also have a keynote panel, which is focusing on sort of holding the life science, or can we hold the life science community accountable for end-to-end sustainability? And I think that'll be a really interesting session. We've got James Connolly, who's the CEO of My Green Lab, and a few sort of senior representatives from Roche and AstraZeneca on there. We also have, on the 25th, you mentioned it at the beginning, we have pre-workshop days, pre-workshop afternoon. And one of those workshops is around green supply chain. So again, bringing in a sort of different aspect of sustainability and looking sort of further out from just the lab and the steps before the lab and the impact that your supply chain will have in sustainability in general and how that will impact the lab.
Right, great. Now, obviously, a lot of the people who are watching this, who are sort of my connection followers, are within life science and pharma. So you mentioned obviously you are covering and you're targeting people within food and other segments as well. So how big a portion is relevant to pharma biopharma?
Well, to be honest, the whole event is relevant for every industry. And the way that we've managed that is by not segregating it into industries. Every track, for example, will have individuals from different industries. And I think we found it's a really useful way to bring people together in terms of learning from, what could big pharma learn from a small food company, for example. I think there are a lot of differences, but there are also a lot of similarities. And it's a really nice way to sort of bring together these different size companies as well as different sort of focuses for the companies.
And that's a beautiful segue to my next question, actually, which is who are some of the key speakers and talks that you'd like to highlight?
Yeah, so we have an excellent panel that will be opening day one that's looking at is data holding us back from utilizing AI? And we have Andreas Steinbacher from Novo Nordisk, who will be moderating the session, Daniel Lipp from Syngenta, Scott Olaf from Roche, Marissa Mott from Amgen, and Theodore Leno from IBM. So I think it'll be a really interesting session in terms of, AI is such a big topic at the moment, and sort of seeing the impact that our data has on it. As well, in terms of sort of AI, it being such a big topic, one of the interesting sessions that we'll be having this year is all around self-driving labs. So the idea of sort of combining robotics and AI into an autonomous lab. And we've got some great presentations, Nessa Carlson from AstraZeneca, Sean Caffrey from the Acceleration Consortium, which was started outside of the University of Toronto, and lots of other sort of speakers within that session as well.
Fantastic. And I have to say, I'm very impressed, Ellie, that you remember this all off the top of your head and you're not reading it from somewhere. So that's really impressive. So well done. Right. Now, as well as the talks, which all sound fantastic, and I'm sure you've got lots of great speakers, and people can click on the link above actually to see all the speakers that are going to be there. And the exhibition that you've got, obviously, which has got over 100 exhibitors, I know. What else are you doing to get delegates engaged over the 2 or 2.5 days if they're going to the pre-afternoon as well?
Yeah, so you've mentioned the talks, the pre-congress workshops, for example. Another sort of forum that we have is our working groups. So these are set up as sort of thought discussions, really interactive. And the idea is you come to this session to join in. You're not listening to a panel or a presentation, but you're actually really getting involved. And we're also going to be having sort of note takers within those sessions so that all of the findings or discussion points can be shared with all the attendees afterwards. And, that might sort of see, what the key trends might be for next year, for example. What else are we doing? So you mentioned our exhibition area. We also have a quite extensive space for startups. I believe we've got about 60 confirmed so far. And as well as them having a small sort of space on the exhibition floor, we also have a pitching competition, which a select number of them will be involved in front of an audience, sort of quick 5-minute pitches, and then the judges will whittle it down to 5 finalists for a final pitch, and then there will be a winner. I think another sort of thing that we're doing, which is exciting, is our networking. We have an excellent app, for example, and we've got not 1 but 2 drinks receptions on the 26th. So one that's taking place on the exhibition floor, and then another off-site and in a hopefully very sunny Basel.
Fantastic. Well, that's brilliant. Now, one thing I'm going to ask you though is, as I alluded to it at the beginning, there are quite a lot of events in this space focusing on Future Lab, Lab of the Future, Smart Labs, whatever you want to call it. There's quite a lot of them out there. So why should, and I know the event is free, which is fantastic, but apart from that, why should people give up their time to come to your event in Basel next week rather than wait and go to one of the other events out there?
I think one of the things that makes Future Labs Live so exciting is the breadth of topics that we have at the event. You know, I've probably only touched on about half of them in this conversation. And it's just so nice that you can sort of dip in and out of different conversations and different topics quite easily. You know, within that, we've got over 210 speakers. So there's a lot of experts out there. Our exhibition area, as you said, it's very vast, and it's great to sort of have a space for the startups. And yes, because it's free, there's so many individuals who will be attending, so lots of people to meet with and network with.
Brilliant. Well, look, my final question, that should have been my final question, but I realized there was a question I had in my head which I forgot. And then I thought, oh yeah, that's what it was, which is, you mentioned about the work groups and obviously people taking notes and then delegates having that information afterwards. So that actually reminded me how much of the content is available concurrently digitally and how much is available post event. You know, obviously, often when you go to a lot of conferences, people have paid to go to the conferences. They say, well, the delegates have paid for it. If the speakers have given us permission, we can share that content to all the delegates post event. So how does it work in terms of Future Labs, and what content will be available either digitally during the event and after the event?
Yes, so we don't actually record any of our sessions because we think it's really important that everyone is there in person, you know, to watch the sessions and to network. I think I mentioned at the beginning, you know, we've had virtual events, and I think we're quite happy to be back in person now. But we will be, for every speaker that allows permission to share the slides, those will be available afterwards. And as well, as we mentioned, the sort of notes from any panel sessions and working groups will be shared afterwards.
Brilliant. Now, we were talking off camera before we started, and I mentioned that, hey, I've seen another event under your name here for Terrapinn. So before we go, do you want to give viewers a quick preview of what event you are planning to launch next year in London?
Yes, so we are planning to launch London Lab Live, which will take place on the 14th and 15th of May next year. And the idea behind it is that, you know, London, the UK, is really growing in terms of labs. There's so much demand for lab space that's currently outweighing supply, in fact. And there's a lot of investment going in to science and technology, whether it's from the government or elsewhere. And we just want to bring the expertise that we have in Basel over to the UK.
Brilliant. And what have you decided on a venue yet? Have you got a venue for that yet?
Yes, we'll be in the Excel.
No, it will, obviously, same as advanced therapies. All right. All right, fantastic. Well, look, Ellie, it's lovely to see you. Hopefully, I will see you in person next Wednesday, because that's when I'm going to be there, and Thursday. So there you go, viewers. If you would like to learn more about Future Labs live, I must add that bit at the end, Basel, click on the link above and learn more about the agenda of the speakers. And if you can make it to Basel, then sign up. It's free. Why not? Have a lovely day in Basel, or a couple of days in Basel. If you can't make it, obviously, then you can look out for London Live or London Labs Live? I can't remember what you called it.
London Lab Live, yeah.
London Lab Live, right? Okay, bit of a tongue twister if you say that quickly. I look out for London Lab Live next year as well, and also Future Labs 2025. God, I'm trying to remember what year it is now. It's terrible. Right, so look, Ellie, it's lovely to see you. Good luck with the build up. I know it's hectic
Thank
time
you.
between now and next Tuesday afternoon, I think, when you've got everything kicking off. So good luck with all of that. And viewers, thank you for watching. As I say, if you haven't registered yet, click on the link above the video and register. It is free. If you are registered, then make sure you say hello to Ellie and me, because I will be wearing an orange top and my orange trainers and maybe an orange baseball cap, so you can't miss me. So make sure you say hello. All right, so I enjoy the weekend. Hopefully the sun is shining where you are. Obviously, it's glorious outside my window right now, and hopefully it will stay glorious next week in Basel as well. So until next time, as always, stay well and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.